Have you ever felt so far from home that you thought there was no way back? A place where your mistakes defined you and your hope seemed lost? This is exactly where we begin today, in a powerful story told for generations. Welcome to Story of Grace. Today, we explore the parable of the Prodigal Son, a tale of a father's endless love, a son's reckless journey, and the beautiful moment when love triumphs over everything. This isn't just a story about a son and his father. It's about us all, about how we navigate mistakes, redemption, and ultimately, love. Stick around, and let's uncover the depth of this story that still resonates today. You won't want to miss this. The request for inheritance. What if you were given the chance to walk away from everything familiar, with all the resources you needed to start over? This is the bold choice the youngest son made when he approached his father with a shocking request. Give me my share of the estate. In that culture, demanding an inheritance before a parent's death was more than a financial transaction. It was a heartbreaking rejection. It was as if he were saying, I wish you were already gone. I want my freedom more than I want you. Yet the father's response is what makes this moment so profound. Instead of refusing or punishing his son, he granted the request. Why? Because true love sometimes means releasing control, even when it hurts. The father understood that forcing his son to stay wouldn't change his heart. It would only breed resentment. So, with sorrow but without resistance, he let him go. This moment speaks to all of us. How often do we chase independence, thinking we know better than those who love us? How many times have we taken blessings for granted, only to realize their worth when they're gone? The son's demand wasn't just about wealth. It was about control, self-determination, and the illusion that happiness lies beyond the boundaries of love and responsibility. But here's the deeper truth. The father's love was never conditional. Even as his son walked away, that love remained, patient, waiting, and ready to welcome him back. Sometimes, the hardest lessons are the ones we must learn on our own. And sometimes, the greatest act of love is letting someone go, trusting that one day they'll find their way home. The departure. With his pockets full and his heart set on freedom, the youngest son left home, eager to write his own story. The world before him seemed limitless. No rules, no restrictions, just endless possibilities. He traveled to a distant land where no one knew his name, and there he lived recklessly. Lavish parties, fleeting friendships, and temporary pleasures filled his days. For a while, it felt like victory. But seasons change, and so did his fortune. The money ran out. The friends disappeared. A severe famine struck. And suddenly, the man who once dined in luxury was fighting for scraps. Desperate, he took the lowest job imaginable, feeding pigs, animals considered unclean in his culture. Even then, he was so hungry that the pigs' food looked appealing. This was rock bottom. His downfall wasn't just financial, it was spiritual and emotional. He had traded the security of his father's house for the illusion of freedom, only to find himself enslaved by his own choices. This is the danger of chasing fulfillment in the wrong places. Wealth fades, pleasure is temporary, and without a true foundation, we crumble. Yet, in his suffering, clarity came. He remembered his father's house, where even the servants had enough to eat. This moment of realization was the turning point. His journey wasn't just about loss, it was about awakening. Sometimes we must lose everything to understand what truly matters. And sometimes the road back home begins when we finally admit, I was wrong. The harsh realization. Have you ever felt the sting of reality hit you, hard and unrelenting? The son experienced just that. Alone in a foreign land with nothing left but his pride, he had nowhere to turn. The famine in the land made things worse, and the only job he could find was feeding pigs. It's here that he hit rock bottom. He longed for something as simple as food, something he once had in abundance, but now it was out of his reach. In this moment, he realized how far he had fallen. This harsh realization sparked something inside him, a desire to return home. He knew he had made a grave mistake, but the bigger realization was this. He had a father who loved him no matter how far he had strayed. And that love was still there, waiting for him to return. The return home. What happens when someone finally admits they've made a mistake and decides to come back home? For the prodigal son, the journey back wasn't an easy one. Filled with shame and guilt, he rehearsed what he would say to his father. He no longer expected to be treated as a son. He was ready to be a servant. But what happened when the father saw him from a distance? He didn't wait. He didn't demand an apology. Instead, he ran towards his son, arms wide open. The embrace wasn't just physical, it was emotional. It was the father saying, "You are mine, and you are loved no matter what." This act of unconditional love speaks volumes. It's a reminder that no matter how far we stray, no matter how badly we mess up, there's always a place for us to return to. The father didn't hold grudges. He was just happy his son was home. The father's forgiveness. What does true forgiveness look like? It's what the father showed the prodigal son. When the son returned, ashamed and broken, expecting punishment, the father didn't reprimand him. He didn't ask for reasons, nor did he make his son pay for his mistakes. Instead, he forgave him fully and completely. He ordered a feast to celebrate the return of his son, declaring that he was once lost, but now was found. This is the heart of grace. True forgiveness doesn't look at the offense. It looks at the person, with love and compassion. The father's forgiveness wasn't based on the son's worthiness. It was based on his love for him. It teaches us that forgiveness is more than a simple action. It's an expression of unconditional love, even when we least deserve it. The older son's reaction. Have you ever felt left out or unappreciated for doing what's right, while others get away with mistakes? The older son, who had worked hard and stayed by his father's side, struggled to understand why his younger brother was celebrated after his return. To him, it seemed unfair. He had been loyal and worked hard, yet his brother, who had wasted everything, was given a feast. But the father's response was gentle and loving. "You've always been with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate because your brother was lost and is now found." This part of the story reminds us that grace is not about fairness. It's about love. It's easy to fall into comparison, thinking that others don't deserve forgiveness or grace, but we forget that grace isn't about who deserves it. It's about who needs it. The message of redemption. What does redemption truly mean? It's the theme that runs through the entire story of the prodigal son. The son's journey from rebellion to realization to return is the essence of redemption. It's not just about being forgiven, it's about being restored. The father's actions symbolize a love that doesn't just cover up mistakes, but transforms lives. The prodigal son didn't come back just to be forgiven. He came back to be restored, to be part of the family again. Redemption isn't just a second chance, it's a complete restoration. It's the opportunity to start over with a clean slate. This is the message of grace and redemption that this story offers. No matter how far we've gone or how much we've messed up, we are never beyond the reach of redemption. There is always a way back home. As we reflect on this beautiful story, we see how the Father's love transcends every mistake, every failure, and every wrong turn the Son took. The Father's heart is a picture of grace, forgiveness, and unconditional love, a love that never gives up. Just as the prodigal son found his way home, so too can we always find our way back to the love of the Father. If you've found meaning in this story, don't forget to subscribe to Story of Grace for more powerful lessons. We'll continue sharing stories that uplift, inspire, and remind us of the grace that surrounds us. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Thank you for watching.